Now to an intense day inside and outside the St. Paul Federal Courthouse. It comes as 15 people were charged with interfering with immigration enforcement during Operation Metro Search. As 12 of those charged were in court, protests and a rally growing outside, including tense clashes with law enforcement. Those 15 people are facing federal charges of conspiracy to impede or injure a federal officer. Some face additional charges, including stalking, assault, and destruction of government property. U.S. Attorney Dan Rosen says they were all members of Direct Action Minnesota, a group he characterized as Antifa. The 94-page indictment accuses one defendant of following an agent from the Whipple building to their home and others throwing blocks of ice at agents. The indictment doesn't list any injuries, and Rosen did not answer when asked if any federal agents were hurt.
We just cannot have in this country people getting together, engaging in all of these violent acts, and then simply saying, well, nobody got hurt. So how bad could it have been?
Raya Katene was in the courtroom today. She joins us in the newsroom with how everything played out. Raya?
Well, today's court hearings were mostly procedural, with the defendants appearing before a judge for the first time in this case. Federal prosecutors wanted to keep them in detention, but the judge ruled that's not necessary because they're not flight risks and there's nothing to suggest they would interfere with the court proceedings.
Outside the federal courthouse in St. Paul is a growing protest in support of the people inside the courtroom, now facing federal charges of interfering with immigration enforcement during the surge of ICE agents in Minnesota.
We didn't expect to be maced today.
Some people were met with gas.
We're just here chanting and we get maced again.
As law enforcement deployed chemical irritants on protesters attempting to keep the courthouse doors open.
I've never seen people violently attacked for peacefully protesting outside the federal courthouse.
Attorney Jordan Kushner accompanied some of the defendants in court.
People are being prosecuted for peaceful political dissent.
Inside, family, friends, and supporters packed the courtroom as 12 of the 15 defendants appeared before a judge for the first time.
We're here because the people in that courtroom right now, because they organized.
Ahead of the hearings, U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen said the defendants conspired to impede or injure a federal officer.
These defendants have been charged not for what they said, but for what they did. They all joined an agreement, a conspiracy, to interfere with lawful immigration enforcement operations.
But out here,
when all they were doing is exercising their First Amendment rights,
protesters say they're standing up for the people who are standing up for others.
We're all going to go out one way or another, but you either go out on your standing up or you go out on your knees. And I don't intend to kneel.
We also learned a bit more about the defendants during today's hearings. One of them is a professor, another is a special education teacher, one of them is a carpenter. Now, there are two conditions for their release. They cannot talk with the other defendants in this case, and they also cannot protest on federal property. Kevin.
Raya, thank you.